Hi, true avatars, and welcome to your weekly queer video game podcast. This is episode 77, and I'm your host, Zoe Wild. I'm a transgender and bisexual woman, and my pronouns are she, her. Joining me this week is Lloyd Lloydster. There are a million L's in there, but his pronouns are he, him. He is a variety streamer on Twitch. Lloyd, how are you this week?
Good, I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm tired, but I think I'm always tired, so I might stop saying that.
I'm always tired too. Twins. If my life were a video game, it would be called Burnout Paradise Remastered.
It's so bad. I've actually been what's that word? Drafting like video game concepts, and one of them is about burnout and setting boundaries. So maybe it's a little too real. But
when you ever get through that, if you ever make that into a game, basically, you let me. I will play test that because I can tell you right now if it's accurate.
Sounds good.
But you were telling me a couple weeks ago, or earlier this week, that you went and saw. You can tell how tired I am that I can't even get over my words. You went and saw Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yes. Yep. What's really funny is I didn't look anything up. I've seen all the Mandalorian shows, Book of Boba Fett, like all of them. So I have all of that. But I didn't look anything up online, and super sorry, but as a lifetime Star Wars fan, the biggest thing I've always said is no one hates Star Wars more than a Star Wars fan.
This is true.
Everyone's so angry all the time. Nothing's how they want it. Everything's bad. And if there's any actual legitimate criticisms, it gets washed downstream with all of the anger. So I didn't look anything up. I saw a couple people online and I just kept scrolling. But anyways, so about me, this is about me and how I feel. I loved it. I went with the expectation of I wanted to hear Star Wars noises. I wanted to, hear the angry. I love the alarm, the Empire alarm for something bad's happened. That's my favorite. I don't know what it does to me, but I just love that. But no, I loved it. You saw it too, right?
I did, yeah. Now, so I have a question for you. Did you like the fact that Rod of the Hutt was no longer in the shadow of his father and that he's now his own man?
I loved that. When he first showed up on screen, big buff guy, and I'm like, okay, I know we had to do something different. So there was a moment when I was like, are we really doing this? And I said, I want to enjoy myself today. Go away. And and once I did my willing suspension of disbelief, why do we have a hut suddenly? I was
Rod of the Hutt.
I was Rod of the Hutt episode. That's the name of the episode, by the way. You can't change that.
Okay. Duly noted.
I hate this. Okay, we did this. Anyways, but no, it was really good, and I really there's just so much. I'm getting it flashed through. What I thought it did really well was it married the cute little quirkiness that we have come to love about, or I've come to love about the practical effects in Star Wars, especially the older gen Star Wars. So the kooky quirkiness of it, and of course Grogu being he doesn't have opposable thumbs. I don't think he has knees. He did his movements. He's doing his best. So marrying that cute quirkiness with hey, things are dying around us. And it's there's blaster fire. There's there's some gross stuff going on. I've always loved it, and I found myself more than once to paying attention to the soundtrack. I was super immersed. I was watching this I was a 31-year-old child. I wasn't trying to do a critique or an analysis of it, but a couple of times the soundtrack would pop through, and I was like, "Ooh, this is nice." There was one part in the city, and I think he Mandalorian kind of gave Grogu the over the shoulder to get him to sneak in a window to open the door for him, and the little mischievous little track that was playing, I was like, ooh, I see you. I just, everything was so good.
Yeah, I loved it. I was really happy that yeah, like Rod of the Hutt wasn't like a villain. Like I really like
Yep.
when they set up this like expectation in a movie where like a character's gonna be evil, and it turns out they're just like a normal dude.
Yes.
So I was really into that, and I was also like, okay, Baby Yoda, like Grogu, super cute. Like I love that he's got this like the whole thing is that he's a baby, like it's a baby kind of version of Yoda. But the whole time I was watching this, I was thinking like, you know what? I if they were to make an episode 10 in the next 10, 15 years, like do a new trilogy, I think I'd want Rod of the Hutt and Grogu, like teenage Grogu, to be like some of the main characters in a new trilogy. Like obviously you're
Okay.
gonna add other new characters too, but like I would want these to be like supporting characters. You know, like Rod of the Hutt's obviously like moved out of the shadow of being, you know, of Jabba the Hutt, and he's his own man. Maybe he's working for like the New Republic or whatever. But I want him to be like some kind of leader in this new movie, and then Grogu being kind of like a part way between like Yoda and like maybe like Han Solo, where he's like carrying on in like in the bounty hunter-ish footsteps of his father, but his father's obviously like long gone at this point. Um, yeah, and then maybe like Rey and like whoever, I don't even know who survived at the end of The Rise of Skywalker, but I know Rey's still alive. So I feel like Rey has to be in it, and she's maybe mentoring this new generation. But it'd be really cool if like, yeah, you have this Force user character, Grogu, who's just like not a Jedi or like a
Yep.
Sith. Like he's just a Force user. Also,
Yep.
there are Star Wars video games, so that justifies this entire conversation.
Yeah, it's we're nerds, we're here, we're queer. That covers everything. Yeah, no. And what's funny is Star Wars universe. Not to like get super like not to make this a Star Wars episode, but the concept of like gray Jedi and has like almost never been explored. Ahsoka Tano got really close, like in mainstream Star Wars, anyways, got really close. So the idea of there being either Sith or Jedi has been so like not overplayed, but almost every single Force sensitive plotline has focused on one or the other. And it would be really nice if, you know, like you just described, you know, Grogu is using his Jedi, you know, no, I'm sorry, his Force sensitivity to get all the best snacks, to protect his friends and family. Like, I would love to see a little bit of like a chaotic, almost neutral use of the Force. That'd be so good.
Yeah, I honestly thought that's where they were going in The Last Jedi when Rey and Kylo are in the elevator going up to meet Snoke. And I thought for sure they were going to do this thing where she became evil, he became good. And then by the end of the third movie, like episode 9, we would have seen them both realize, okay, we don't have to be good or evil. We can kind of be in between and normal. And then they just did what they did where like she was still good, he was still evil. The status quo did not change at all. And it was the most boring ending possible to that scene. Because I was like, you could have had them also like end up together where like they switch sides, but they're also like really into each other romantically. Like the way they're looking at each other in that elevator, I was like, they're gonna bang. Like, I was like, and then they just obviously they're not gonna do that in a Star Wars movie. But I was expecting the next best. I was expecting like the Leia Han like, you know, like the sexual tension to continue, and then they were just like, no, he's evil, she's good. We can't have our female hero be evil. Can't do it. All those little girls out there are going to understand nuance, and we can't have that. Anyway,
Oh,
we're going to move on because we're not talking too much about video games, but I've been trying to, for listeners who are like, why are you talking about Star Wars so much? I've always been trying to make sure like we could have some banter in the intros of these episodes. I think it's harder when people see my show notes and see how rigid and like, at this moment, we're going to talk about this. So it's really nice that we're kind of listening up and just like having like kind of shooting the crap at the beginning. And anyway, yeah. So maybe there should be a section towards the end of the episode where we just talk about whatever's on our minds. That way it doesn't kind of come up the start of the video game podcast. But yeah, I've always wanted to kind of like talk about something at the beginning. Last week I tried bringing up Twink Yoshi, but that didn't work so much. People hadn't seen the video.
no idea what you were talking about.
Yeah, no one had any idea. Parent ran perpetually on Twitter. So that was my problem. But anyway, this episode, we're going to be talking about a few things. We're going to be talking about what we've been playing. What we've been playing is Celeste. Lloyd and I have actually decided to finally earn our trans card, our identification, and actually play Celeste. So we're going to talk about that. And then we might talk a little bit about other games we've been playing, and then we're going to jump into some headlines. Not too many this week, but Witcher 3 announced a new expansion 11 years after the original game came out, which is like unheard of. I think it's the only time that's ever happened with a game. There's been some Dragon Quest news because Dragon Quest Day just happened and it was the 40th anniversary. And also there is Fable news and it's not good. Well, it depends what your perspective on everything is, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's bad news, but it's definitely not good news, I would say. But anyway, they delayed it. And then at the end of the episode, we're going to take a couple minutes just to throw in some predictions for all the not E3 news, because I'm pretty sure the day after this episode goes up is the State of Play, and then a few days after that is Summer Game Fest, and then all the showcases next weekend, plus Xbox, and I'm sure at some point in the week or two after that, there will be Nintendo. And I might, I don't know how much I'm gonna be covering all that stuff in the next few weeks, because last year it almost killed me covering all that coverage. So we're gonna do the predictions, and then we're gonna take it play by ear on all the coverage of the stuff. But anyway, before we jump into all of that, I do have a few quick favors to ask of you, true avatars. If you like this podcast, please leave a comment, rating, or review on your preferred podcast platform. Spotify has ratings and comments, while Apple has reviews. Engagement like comments, ratings, and reviews helps to grow the podcast, and a growing podcast means a happy podcast host who is forever happy and fulfilled that you enjoy listening to our show, which creates an infinite feedback loop of, oops, I bumped my computer, of more podcast episodes and more growth and more happiness. So please go leave a comment, rating, and or review. If you're watching the video version on YouTube, please leave like this episode, leave a comment, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you're the first to know when a brand new video drops. Also, please follow True Avatars, a queer video game podcast on social media. Their accounts on Blue Sky, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Facebook, and TikTok at True Avatars. And you can also find the podcast on the official website, trueavatarspodcast.com, no spaces. And remember, this is a weekly queer video game podcast, so check in every week. I'm bringing news, interviews, and updated discussions that are relevant to queer gamers, so you have a safe space to check in on the world of gaming from a 2S LGBTQIA+ lens. Okay, I can breathe again. All right, so, Lloyd.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about anything else before we talk about Celeste? Is there anything else you want to be playing that you want to talk about? Because I feel like Celeste is going to be the meat of our discussion.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So good first, and then, okay, yeah.
Good first, okay. We'll see how it is.
Not to spoil that topic, but no, yeah. So what's it? No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky. I started playing Friday, maybe Thursday. We're recording this on a Saturday, and I accidentally put in like 17 hours so far. Like, wow. I have not gone this hard in a game in a minute, and I never played it when it first came out. I saw the memes when it first came out. Like, was it like 2016? But they've added a ton of content apparently since then, because it's a dopamine like hit. Like, I'm still technically in the tutorial. I'm calling it the tutorial. Wow. They're still giving me quests to learn stuff. You run around and collect things, discover things, scan things. If you, as someone who loves looting and collecting inventory items and stuff as much as I do, this is a problem. So we'll see how long. Maybe I'll drop it, in 2 more days after I haven't slept, or it'll be here for a while.
It's funny that you mentioned that. I was thinking it was my boyfriend I was talking to about this, like that, he mentioned that, like, yeah, we were talking about, they keep adding new content to this game. Like, I feel like every 2 or 3 months, they're like, here's like 30% more of a game. And I'm like, how do they keep, because like, it's one thing that they launched the game and it wasn't the state that people wanted it to be in. And then they went and fixed that and added all the content they promised. And then they just kept going. Like, it's amazing that they even did, like, they could have just dropped it and walked away and no one would have people would have like meme about it forever. But like, I feel like it would just eventually be like fade into the obscurity of video games. But they're like, they haven't made another game. They've literally keep supporting No Man's Sky. And it must be doing well for them because people keep playing it. And that's really awesome, because very few other video game companies, even the most successful ones like Destiny 2, not going to name names.
It's a soft spot right now, but yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, they are ending support for Destiny 2 and basically not doing anything else with the game or making a sequel. Despite it being significantly more popular and lucrative than pretty much most video games. Except maybe like Fortnite. Anyway, yeah. No, but it's really cool that you're playing it, and because my boyfriend also said like it's like really, really good, and that if I ever want to borrow his like physical copy of it, like I could, because it's something I want to try, but it's the thing that if I try, I'm scared if happening exactly what's happening to you. I'm scared I will spend the money and I will hate it within 10 minutes, or I'll spend the money and I'll love it and I'll never play another video game again or go to work ever again.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I'm trying to decide if I should share this information with you. Okay, you're a grown adult, you can make your own choices. It was on sale. I don't know if it's still on sale. It was on sale for like 60% off when I got it this week. So on Steam? Yeah, on Steam. Okay. So I don't know if it still is. Okay. It just happened I'm not buying a lot of games lately, but I was in a I needed to treat myself moment, and I was like, I I am worth $23. I could like I
You were
could do
worth
this.
$23. You were definitely worth $23.
So I pulled the trigger, and no, very valid concern. I cannot confirm nor deny that'll happen to you because it's yeah.
It's funny because this has both convinced me I should and should not play it simultaneously. I should play it because it sounds like I'm going to enjoy it just like you, but also I shouldn't play it because I'm going to enjoy it just like you. So, but speaking of addictive games, I have a similar problem with a different game. I started playing Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, and I played the demo back in February when they released it, or January, whenever it was, and I was like, well, there's a demo, I'll try it, it looks cute, maybe I'll enjoy it, maybe I won't. I've dabbled in other Monster Hunter Dragon Quest games. I always get those names, the game names confused, but it's Dragon Quest. I dabbled in Dragon Quest Monsters. And what else did I dabble in? I feel like I dabbled in a different Dragon Quest game before that too. But anyway, I enjoyed them, but like I kind of bounced off them. Like I was like, okay, these are things I enjoy kind of, but I'll come back to it later. I didn't like for Dragon Quest Monsters on Switch, The Dark Prince. Like I played the demo, and the demo was also really long. It was like 5 hours, and I got to the end of the demo, and I was like, that was awesome. And then at the end of the demo, they tell you, well, that save doesn't carry over, but 6 of your monsters or something can.
Oh, okay.
So when I went to actually go play the full game, I was like, I don't want to really replay this right now. And then I also don't want to restart because I don't want to lose the monsters I just got. Like, I don't want to anyway, so it's just but I started playing Dragon Quest VII Reimagined because I thought the art style was really cute. I played the demo. The demo took me 5.5 hours. The demo was supposed to be 4. I spent 5.5 hours in it. I loved it. I love the story. I think I talked about this on the podcast before, but an early game spoiler, and I'm going to let people dip out, but this is for me, this is the only reason I would play the game. So I want to talk about this specific early story spoiler. The premise of the game is that you live on an island where there are no other islands around. It's kind of like Moana, where you don't go out in the water, it's too dangerous, only the adults are allowed to go. Nothing else is around. Well, these kids discover some pieces of some stone tablets, and they enter a portal to another island, like another world basically. And when they solve the problem in this world, it brings the island back to their world. So the whole world's been fractured. So you're on a journey piecing all these islands back together. I won't spoil what the other hook is about what these islands do and everything, but that was what I was like, when I clued into what was going on, I was like, oh, I need to play the rest of this game. And it is so good. And it's so easy. If you're worried about RPG mechanics, this is the easiest time. Final Fantasy VII Remake was harder for me to get around my head around the mechanics than this. This game is turn-based. It's very simple. It's very easy. Grinding is easy. You level up very quickly. If you spend even a little bit of time grinding, you will have no problem with most of the bosses. I've heard late game bosses are a little more difficult, but I'm almost 20 hours in and I can't put this game down. Something just happened in the game, which again, I won't spoil, but I was like, no, they can't do this. It's I love it when they add party members and they take party members away, and all of a sudden when they do stuff like that, and something happened with the party, and I was like, no, what? And then just the way the premise works, the game spoils what happens to things. Anyway, I don't want to spoil too much, but basically this game is scratching my brain in a way that I have been waiting for it for a long time. And I think I'm just realizing I need to play more Square Enix RPGs because they hit crack. I don't know if that's woke to say on a podcast about queer rating or podcast, but this is crack for me, this video game. So also, if No Man's Sky takes me from Dragon Quest, I will hiss at you. So no Man's Sky. No, that's not okay. It's not okay.
What's really funny is, so Dragon Quest VIII was the big one that my brother and I played growing up. We played it so much to the point that when I hear the little menu noises or certain different I don't know what a better word for it is, but the sound effects that are tied to the Dragon Quest IP.
When you cast a spell, they're do-do-do-do, and yeah, they haven't changed in years. Yeah. Sorry.
I get transported. I get sent back. So and the Dragon Quest loves doing this. It's a classic RPG thing. So without context, you might be yeah, sure, they take away party members, they add party members. That makes sense. No, Dragon Quest does it dramatically. And in Dragon Quest VIII, not to say no spoilers for a game that's been out forever, but very deep into the game, one of your regular party members gets taken. All of the spells you put into them, all of the items you put into them, the exact way you've got them built. and the entire like build you've done for them, all of the levels you've put into them, you're now fighting them. And I hate and love that. So whenever I see it done well, like that's immediately what I think about a Dragon Quest again. So when you said that, I was like, oh, I'm remembering everything about a different Dragon Quest game.
I've heard 8 is really good. I've heard 8 is like the Final Fantasy 7 of the Dragon Quest series. But honestly, I don't know. Like this, haven't played another Dragon Quest game. I've only played spin-offs, and I played this one. And like playing Final Fantasy 7 makes me want to play the other Final Fantasy games, but a lot of it is like, well, the reason I like this game is because of these characters specifically. And if this is an anthology series, there's no guarantee that the gameplay or the story or the characters are going to hit the same in a different game. I'm sure they do once you put I have the opinion that like if you spend enough time with any characters on any show, unless the show or game is really horribly written, like really, really bad for a specific reason, but if you spend 2 seasons watching CSI, for example, you're going to fall in love with those characters even if they're terribly written because you've just spent 2 seasons with them. The same way that you fall in love with people in real life, romantically or platonically, however, you're just going to become emotionally attached to things. And I think that's why RPGs hit in a way that they do, because at a certain point, like when I start any RPG, admittedly, I haven't played as many RPGs as I should have outside of Pokemon, but when you play an RPG, like Final Fantasy, the first 2 hours, I was like, I don't understand why these characters are important or why this story matters. And then 3 hours later, certain point between 2 and 5 hours, I realized I was hooked and I don't know what happened. But I think part of it is that I spent a lot of time with those characters. And again, the characters in Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, at first I was like, Maribel, she's annoying. Kiefer, he's ugly. But when they're doing stuff with these characters later on, I'm like, no, these are my babies. If anything happens to them, they're my children. No, how dare you? I'm going to buff them up so they can defend themselves. Like, anyway, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this. Just that I really, really love Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. And I'm jonesing to play it every time I have like a second. I'm like, I gotta go play this. Like, I'm in the bathroom. Okay, I gotta play this. I get it on my Steam Deck. Like, that's probably TMI, but like that's how addictive it's becoming. Is like, I'm sure if you could bring No Man's Sky to the bathroom, you would, Lloyd. You would. Maybe you do. I don't know. I don't judge. I certainly am in no position to judge. So
I have to remember, like, I'm really bad at remembering to drink or like to get food or anything. So when I get like sucked in, I'm like, oh, I'll just do one more thing. I'll just do like one more, like, run to another planet and, you know, scan this thing. And then like an hour and a half has passed and I'm like, that didn't happen. There's no way. There's zero chance. No, there's actually a 100% chance that happened. But
it's been a long time and you said this too, but like, it's been a long time since a game has had its hooks in me. There's games that come out and I'm like, I'm going to play this at release day. And then I'm just like, I'm not interested in this. Or I start playing it and I bounce off it and I'm like, oh, wow, this should have hooked me. So like, it feels nice to have a game that I want to go back to now so badly. Cause it's been so long since like I've played and that's not to say that I haven't played like shorter indie games that I've loved, but they're shorter 3, 5, 6, 7 hour experiences. Like I played Gecko Gods. That also had its hooks in me, but that's a 7-hour experience. But these 30, 40, 50-hour games like Ghost of Yotei, I loved it. But after 7 hours, I was like, I'm kind of good. You know? Hyrule Warriors, I was kind of good. So
it's funny that you mentioned that. I was actually getting to the point kind of recently when I was like, am I getting too old for video games? Like, am I aging out of this? I was genuinely concerned because I felt like I was going through games faster and faster. Like 7 Days to Die, I feel like I just started playing that on stream like a couple months ago, if that, and I'm already like kind of sort of we're at end game and like my brain's not getting like, I need to log on and go build another base or do more. Like I found myself like going through games faster and I was like, no, but people play games forever. It just, what's going on?
I was worried it was burnout for me, that I was just like not enjoying anything anymore. Because like even certain movies that I used to love, I don't love them as much. I was like, am I depressed? Like I know if I'm depressed, it's because of burnout. So I'm gonna blame burnout instead of depression. But I was like starting to get worried. I was like, so it's when something comes along that I enjoy it, I go, oh, it's not me, it's the content. It's the content that I'm playing. And that's where I'm going to put the blame on, because if I blame my burnout, like maybe it is part of that too, but like it's easier for me to blame the content. I want to make it clear, because people listen to this podcast and goes, oh, you play a lot of indie games. I'm not talking about that shorter content. That shorter content is good, but by the time it could possibly make it addictive for me, the story is over. Like the game it's done and I'm cool with that. Like I'm great with that short form content. I'm particularly talking about games that are 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 hours. Big AAA games that you spend $100 on in Canada anyway. Because again, all the indie games I've put in the podcast I've loved too, but they don't have the time to become addictive because they are shorter experiences. I feel like I really want to underscore that I'm not trying to like crap out a bunch of indie games that I've talked about on the podcast. It's more so like last fall, like I talked about Ghost of Yorte, I talked about Metal Gear Solid Delta, I talked about Hyrule Warriors, I talked about Kirby Air Riders, all these big games that I was like, I have to play these for the podcast. I want to talk about them, and I liked them, but they didn't make me want to go back. As soon as I was like, oh, I played the 7 hours, and now I've played enough to talk about on the podcast. I'm like, oh, good. I'm good now. Like, and that makes me sad as well because I didn't hate those experiences either, but they didn't call me back enough. So
you even liked Donkey Kong for a minute, didn't you? Like at first, and it just sometimes replayability. It just and like you were saying about indie games and story-driven games that are more compact, more bite-sized. Yeah, they can be enjoyable, but the addictability can't really be tied to that because that's not what the intention of the experience. There's not replayability built into that. So kind of like a different topic entirely. So yeah, no, that makes sense to me. But so yeah, if we want to shift from burnout and mental health and games that are good, talk about Celeste.
Which is also a game about burnout, mental health, and all that other stuff. Okay, yeah, let's talk about Celeste. And I just want to say, it's okay if I start? You can also start.
Absolutely.
I was not expecting to enjoy Celeste. I thought it would not like it was that it's a bad game, but I expected it to be too difficult that I would bounce off it. Because I've tried playing Ori. I know it's a platformer, but like Ori is a difficult platformer. It's also a Metroidvania, but the platforming is very difficult, and it doesn't make me want to keep playing the same way that Celeste does. Every time Celeste keeps getting hard. Every single screen in Celeste, when there's a new challenge, gets harder than the last screen. Every single one. You're like, oh, I did it. I got through that one hard section. Guess what? This is doubly hard now. And I was like, but every time I do, I'm like, I just want to keep trying. I'm really enjoying Celeste. It's also got its hooks in me. And I'm halfway through the game now. I'm not sure how far you are, but I got to the end of the 4th chapter. I looked it up. There are 8 chapters. I know it's a bit of a spoiler, but to get to the top of the mountain is 8 chapters, and I just finished chapter 4. For people who don't know, that's the cable car bit. And it's hard. I've died 1,000 times, but I love this game. Anyway, Lloyd, okay. Where are you in the game? How many times have you died? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, no, every time I boot up this goddamn game, this is all just personal. It's not, this is personal. There's a reason why I'm still playing it, right? Every time I boot up this goddamn game, I experience an ego death. And this is going to be good for me long term. I know it is, but platforming is not what I'm good at. And every single time I do boot this up, I look to make sure that there's not a spot I can turn off that goddamn death counter. But no, you have to sit there with the death counter. Doesn't do anything. Like obviously, it's literally just there. It doesn't mock you. Its existence is mocking, but other than that, it's just there. I can ignore it. I'm going to be honest with you.
You can ignore it, but okay.
To be honest, I think I put significantly less time than you have into it. But oh yes, not to like go on a super tangent, but I completely changed my operating system on my computer, and when that happened, I lost all my progress on Celeste, so I had to start from the beginning. Oh, wow. About like a week and a half ago, and I've only had one session in it since. But what I did do differently this time was I dug out a controller for it. Mouse and keyboard, impossible.
Oh geez, how did you? I can't even imagine mouse and keyboard for this game.
Yeah, I can, and it was not great. It was not great. I would equate that to a form of self-harm, like just for legal reasons, it's a joke, but it's just like no, day and night. As soon as I got on the controller, I was like whizzing in comparative to the pace I was going right through. At the moment, I just finished chapter 1, so I think that's right after you get to like the memorial, like it's not a gravestone, it kind of is. It's for like everyone who couldn't make it to this point is what it says. But I within a few minutes of getting to that, I legitimately tabbed out of the game and looked up. Like I was like, how long until I get somewhere? Like up until that point, I had just Up until that point, I had just seen the lady that you meet like 30 seconds into the game, and I was just going in every direction. I was seeing new rooms. I was getting bullied by new mechanics, and just like I was like, I gotta know when does something happen? I need a, I need a carrot on a stick. Like when is this gonna happen? And it didn't like tell me explicitly, but I was like, okay. I see a playthrough video. It says 20 minutes until they, did something until you get to a marker. Well, let's just, multiply that by, a reasonable amount for me. And then I was like, you know what? I gotta be there soon. I gotta be there soon. And I did. I got there. And the big thing I did differently this time was I'm ignoring those strawberries. When I first started up the game, I was not advancing until I got strawberries in rooms, which is like, for anyone who hasn't played Celeste, like most platformers have a themed loot item that is put in
collectible.
Yeah, collectible. That's the one. That's put in a difficult corner of the room. No, that's. I was like, I gotta get somewhere. I gotta experience this story. I gotta see. So I'm ignoring them, and if they're there, I get them. If not, it is what it is. The worst part I find, and not like in a this is a bad thing, but like in a challenging way. The worst thing for me is when I see a room and I've mapped it out and I know what I have to do, and I know like I have to fall straight down, facing left, getting ready to grab this wall when I get just past the spikes. Like you can know exactly what you have to do, but if your hands don't do it right, or you have the wrong momentum, or the thing slings you.
I'll get almost to the end of a room on my first try, and then the next 30 times I can't get to past the first jump.
Yep.
Now, you were talking, I want to go back because you were talking about like progress points. And what I really like about this game is it's very easy to pick up and put down. And gamers love to say that. And I don't say that in a way like, oh, I have 10 minutes. I'm going to play Celeste. What I mean is like every room, as soon as you complete a room, like each screen basically is its own like save point. So you don't have to like get to the end of a level. It's not like Mario where like you got to beat it. No, if you complete a screen and you get to the next part where you can't go back next, like where like basically, like it auto saves for you. And when you turn off the game and boot it back up, you'll start right where you left off, which is really nice. Now, if you make it halfway through a room and you stop there and you turn off the game, it's going to take you back to the start of that room and you have to complete the whole thing again. They're not big. They're not long. They're hard. They're challenging, but they're not. The other thing that I really like about this game, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this, is that because you mentioned mechanics, and all the mechanics are based on things in the world. They don't give you new buttons or skills or abilities to unlock. You have 4 things you can do in the game. You can walk and run, like you can move forward and backward, blah, blah, blah. You can jump, you can dash, and you can grab walls. Those are the only 4 things you can do in the game. They do not, I don't know if, again, I'm only 4 chapters in, there's still half the game. Maybe they introduce a new button later on, I don't know. But so far, it's literally just figuring out how to use those 4 buttons in every environment that you're in. And they keep throwing stuff at you, and just when you think you've figured out how to master that one thing they're throwing at you, they find a way to make that thing 10 times more difficult in the next room. I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, it's the level design is it's well done because it gives it to you in a way that I'm constantly like, come on, man. We just did that. But then 3 rooms from now, that new thing that they're giving me is just, second nature. I like one of the ones that really got me was when you grab a wall, there are some blocks now that will fall once you've touched it. And there's some puzzles that you actually have to touch these blocks to make them fall before you can advance. And that whole time you're managing like this invisible stamina that will make you fall if you're grabbing for too long But I can see the vision. I see it's I see what's happening. I'm mad about it, but yeah.
Okay, so that's my question too. Is like normally when I'm playing a game that's this difficult, because I don't like 2D platformers. I like puzzle platformers that are 2D, but I like it because of the puzzle, not the platforming. In this case, though, and I really don't like 2D Mario. Like 2D Mario is not for me. I don't enjoy anything about it. 3D Mario, yes. 2D Mario, no. Most 2D platformers I do not enjoy at all. And most games with 2D platforming like Metroidvanias, they frustrate me. Like they make me angry and they make me want to quit playing the game. This game, no matter how hard it gets, I might get a little frustrated, but I'm never angry enough to rage quit. or just quit. Like I never, if I'm a little tired or I run out of time, maybe I'll like, okay, I'm gonna put this down and come back later. But I'm never like, I never get to a really hard point in the game and I go, this is making me mad. I can't do this. I'm always, I don't know what it is about this game specifically, but it makes me want to be better at it.
Wow. Wow, yeah, no, let's see. So what happens? I'm just furious the entire time I'm playing it. And it's so funny. It might be funny hearing me say that, but I'm just furious the entire time I'm playing it. And I guess I keep playing it. I keep going like, if I don't finish this room, I'm gonna have to finish it when I boot it back up the next time, and I have to have something to talk about on the podcast. So I gotta, but no, my goal is to keep playing it, and it's not that it's getting easier, but there are some rooms that I get through it in one go, and I like don't get like a big sense of, oh boy, I did it, this is amazing, great, we can shut it down. I keep going.
Yeah. Oh, well, I get that sense of like, I did it, and then I get to the next room and I just want to keep going.
Yeah,
and then I get stuck in another moment, and it's just, and like the thing I roughed off, like I hadn't played in a couple months, so I played today because I was like, we should talk about Celeste. We said we were going to check in about Celeste. So I booted it up, and I went through a room where like that was just like, it was obviously like every room. It was really difficult. You have to like jump on a block that moves, and while it's moving, you have to jump off it to move other blocks out of the way, ones that fall. And then when you get past a certain point, there's like a big wall, the thing slides under it, and then you have to jump around up to like move another thing out of the way by hitting a button, and then jump back down, grab the thing, and then jump up. And that sounds ridiculous. And I was not getting frustrated with it, but that was the kind of one that I was like, after I was playing that, I was like, I'm good for a bit. Like I didn't consciously think that, but it was the one that made me not go back for a while. Not because I was frustrated, but I was just like, I need time away from this. Well, I went back to it today, and yes, it was very difficult, and it took a bunch of tries, but I finally did it. And I was like, and then again, this is the same progress loop for me. I was like, I want to keep going. And then when I actually found out that I'm halfway through the game, I was like, it doesn't feel like I'm halfway through the game. I still feel like I'm only a third, maybe. Like I was expecting a lot more than that. So in a way I'm relieved. I'm like, okay, it's not gonna be that much more that like I'm halfway, like, okay, cool, that's great. But also like kind of want more game. Like I see why people are mad that they canceled Earthblade now. Like I see you're gonna have to have a chat with Maddie Thorson. Maddie Thorson is the person behind Celeste. I mean, there's a bunch of people behind Celeste, but Maddie Thorson is the trans woman who made the game, and Celeste is Madeline, the character in the game. I think her name is Maddie or Madeline. She's kind of based on is she called Madeline in the game? I can't remember. She's not called Celeste, I don't think.
I think you can name the character.
That's right. I named her Zoe. That's why I don't remember the character's name, is because I named her Zoe, because I was like, well, she's trans, so I'm gonna make her me. And then and for me, actually, I'm gonna ask you about this, because you've obviously run into some story elements, and that's for you a carrot on a stick. I actually find the story stuff to be a little bit intrusive, where I'm like, I just want the platforming. Just throw challenges at me. And I don't want to spoil what the next, there's a story beat that's gonna drive you up the wall, Lloyd. Like, if you already find this annoying and you need a carrot on a stick, they managed to make both of those things like one thing in the level. It's just the one character that keeps popping back up. I guess it's your next section. I'm really curious what you think of the next section.
I saw the word chase in something that I was looking up to figure out how close I was to any sort of progress, and I was like, I'm not going to read anymore. I'm going to just be upset when it happens. And but no, and when you were just talking about how difficult it was getting, I know we have other stuff to talk about, but this is probably like one of the last things I'm thinking of. I was just like, are we going to be good at platformers after this? Like, is this just like the ultimate training for platformers?
I hope
like
so.
Yeah, like it increases, like it introduces you to a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more until eventually there's nothing else they can throw at us and we're going to be experts.
Well, if it makes you feel any better or worse, maybe, I don't know. I'm not your mom. I played Celeste a couple months ago, and I stopped playing for a bit. And then I was like, you know what? I'm really curious about Metroid Dread. I've had a copy of it on my shelf for a while. I think I got it on sale a long time ago. Amazon Canada had like some weird price drop where it was like $40 Canadian dollars, like half price. So I picked it up. I was like, you know what? I want to try Metroid Dread. No, I'm not better at platformers because of Celeste. No, it's not a thing.
Great.
I still hate that. I'm okay with it, and I'm taking it slowly with Metroid Dread. I don't hate it. but I don't love it. It doesn't have its hooks in me the same way Celeste was like almost immediate for me. It doesn't make me want to keep, like there's a famous room in Metroid Dread that's like named after someone who couldn't find it. And I also could not find that room because I forgot one of the billions of mechanics that game introduces to you at the start. And I was like, oh yeah, you can shoot these one specific things and you can go through this. And I was like, well, I forgot you could do that because I put the game down for 5 minutes and I forgot that there's 900 things in this game. Celeste is great because there's only 4 things you can do. And that first couple of minutes where I was like trying to remember what all the buttons do, I was like, this is hard. And then within 10 minutes, I was like, oh yeah, right. Okay, these are all the buttons. I know how to play this again. Whereas Metroid Dread, I'm like, okay, I gotta go on Google and remember how to shoot things. So I don't know. Might bring your hopes down. All right. Any other final thoughts on Celeste?
No, I'll keep doing it. It'll be good for me. Maybe I'll reach a Zen moment. It's a spiritual training for me. I'm in.
I'm going to say, well, I'm glad you're in, but I'm going to say one thing, and maybe this will also apply to people who maybe are playing a game they think they have to enjoy or play for a reason, that and you're not enjoying it. If you're not enjoying it, I want you to tell me either on the podcast or off the podcast. If you do not want to continue, that is totally okay. Because it's not like you didn't try it. If you are not feeling it, you don't have to play anymore. And that same goes for any game you were playing that you feel you have to keep playing because you either spent money on it, or you borrowed it, or you rented it, or someone told you this is the best game ever and I'll hate you if you don't enjoy it. It's okay. You don't have to play it anymore. Go play something you do like. Even if that thing is the game you want to play is something you've played a million times before, or the game you want to play is some kind of junk food quality game, you don't have to play it. And that, again, would, if you don't want to play Celeste anymore, just stop playing. You don't even have to tell me. Just like, next time I'm on the podcast, Lloyd, you play Celeste? And Lloyd is just mysteriously quiet. Okay.
Can you imagine? Imagine that's how I tell you. Like, Lloyd, so how's Celeste going? Haven't played it. Like, actually uninstalled it. Like, can you imagine? That's how it like.
I'd be okay with that. I would understand.
I'll keep going, but I'll keep that in mind.
Okay. I guess this is selfish, but like because I'm enjoying it, I don't know. For me, I really want other people to play Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, but for some reason I don't want to make other people play Celeste. I'm like, I love Celeste, but I really want people to play Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the type of game. I can't explain why I feel the way I feel about these two games. You know, I feel the same way about both of them. I love them both. But one game, I'm like, everyone's got to play Dragon Quest VII. And other Celeste, I'm like, no. It's okay. Like, Celeste, that's for me. That's for me. I don't know. Anyway. All right. Shall we move on to the news?
Yeah.
Okay, Lloyd. How into Fable are you?
I'm not going to waste a lot of time on this. Whenever people bring it up, I get it confused with Fate. And
I've never heard of Fate. So
one of them, I think it was Fate 2. You could go fishing, and I got a cheese hat. That's the most I know about either one. And unfortunately, it's the wrong game. So feel free to have at it.
All right. Well, this is a potentially queer game, so I'll just give people the rundown here. Fable was delayed. It was originally planned for this fall. And Xbox wrote on Twitter, of all places, and actually there's a typo in this thing, actually, it's funny. So I'm going to read the typo because Xbox knows better. This year is packed with incredible games for Xbox players to enjoy. From Halo, Campaign Evolved, Gears of War E-Day, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4, Jesus, to Control Resonant, Star Wars Galactic Racer, and Grand Theft Auto 6. In order to plan our game launches through the holidays in a way that works best for players, we're moving Fable to February 2027 so it can have the dedicated moment it deserves. We're excited to be giving players a major new look at Fable, as well as our broader lineup at Xbox Games Showcase on June 7th. They did not say which day in February it's coming out. That's end quote, by the way. But I assume they're going to tell us the exact day in February it's coming out at the Xbox Showcase. I don't know why they'd hide the date specifically, like if it's like February 1st or February 28th. It just seems weird to me, but anyway. Lloyd, since you don't have any thoughts and we've been a little long in the tooth this episode, we'll just move on to the next news story here. Okay, Lloyd, second question for you. How familiar are you with The Witcher?
I love it. I've played it. I've restarted it like 3 times, and every time, as soon as I finally get to the biggest open world area where the game starts, according to most serious players, I only get like a couple hours in and I get overwhelmed and forget the game exists. But I love the universe. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. That's fair. Valid. So I guess this is probably not great news for you because it's probably just overwhelming, but there is a new expansion coming for The Witcher 3, 11 years after the game came out. So that's right. And they said it's not DLC, it's an expansion. They specifically said that. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Songs of the Past. That's the name of the expansion. So the last one was called Blood and Wine, I think. Anyway, Songs of the Past. Reading from the tweet here. This brand new expansion for The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt will take you to the path with, again, I can't remember. Is it Geralt or Geralt? I think it's Geralt, right?
Geralt. Yeah.
Geralt. Okay. Geralt of Rivia once more. It's being co-developed with Fool's Theory and is coming to PC, Xbox Series X and S, and PlayStation 5 in 2027. Stay tuned for more information in late summer. With new content coming to the game, we also need to update our system requirements to ensure smooth performance and compatibility going forward. These requirements will become effective starting from the next update. Those specs requirements apply only to PC, so if anyone's interested, in the show notes, I've included the link for more info on specs. Actually, I should make a note to actually include that link. I'm gonna write that down.
Wild.
Yeah.
That's wild that they come out and say, hey, by the way, you might be too poor to play this game. You might want to take a quick look at your specs. And it's a wild time to say that. I mean, I guess the game's been out for forever, right? Effectively. So I guess it makes sense that there's some changes in technology, but I don't think I can recall another game that's done that. Like, by the way.
Yeah. I think Cyberpunk did the same thing where the DLC was only on next gen or current gen now, but like it came out on PS4 and Xbox One, but the expansion, Liberty, Justice, whatever it was called, Civil Liberties, I don't remember. Liberty's in the name. It only came out for current gen consoles, like next gen, PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. What I think is really interesting about this is kind of double-edged sword here, because I don't know how many PS4 users are still playing on, like, I don't know how many people upgraded to PS5 in general, just console-wise, not game, but it's weird that they're not making this available for PS4, like for previous gen people, because of the games probably sold a lot there. However, if you do have a next-gen console, the upgrade is free. The weirder part is that Nintendo Switch is not getting this DLC because it's previous gen. So are we going to get a Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Witcher 3 so they can put the expansion on that? Because they were very supportive. What are the devs' names? Oh my gosh. I cannot remember. I might have even said it before. Nope, it's not in here. The people that make CD Projekt Red, that's their names.
I'm not sure if this was a person's name. Yeah, no, CD Projekt Red, sorry.
But CD Projekt Red, they were very supportive of the Switch 2 with Cyberpunk. So I am wondering if there's going to be a Switch 2 version of The Witcher 3, whether it's a physical complete or a game key card, whatever have you, but like just a release of the game, so they can at least sell this expansion on Switch 2 as well. So I'm really curious about that. But I guess I would ask normally, are you going to play Songs of the Past? But that would require you to get past the first 2 hours of the game. So, I mean, I guess the answer is no. But you'll want to play it, right? Sorry, I'm being really mean and calling you out, but it's okay. I do the same stuff with other games, so.
I've played more than 2 hours, but you know, just get distracted by the open world. There's so much to do. There's so many plans to pick up. There's so many not storyline things to do. It's exactly how I've never finished Skyrim. I did the same thing. I just ran across the whole known world, did everything else, and for some reason I'm just allergic to main storylines.
The only thing I know about Skyrim is the meme, "Hey you're finally awake." I only want to play it because of that, and it's at the very start of the game. I would boot up the game. Also, it really doesn't help that I guess it does help that I don't have to like sink my teeth into Skyrim, because they haven't really put it on a decent enough sale to justify. Like, it's still like 60 Canadian dollars when it's on sale, and I'm just like,
That's wild.
I can't justify that spend. Just like I can't. Baldur's Gate 3, I'm sure to enjoy it as well, but the fact that it's never been cheaper than 60 Canadian dollars, I don't have time to play it, so I'm not going to spend $60 on a game that's going to sit in my backlog. So, sadly, unfortunately. But anyway, we're talking about Skyrim and Baldur's Gate 3, but we're actually talking about Witcher 3 Songs of the Past. Yeah, hopefully we hear more about the release date soon. This is something that's kind of been rumored for a while, so it's cool that it's finally confirmed. And that dropped the same day as Dragon Quest Day, I'm pretty sure. And so let's talk some Dragon Quest news, Lloyd, because you are familiar with Dragon Quest, so this should be an interesting discussion. They've announced a bunch of new games. So first off, they announced the Dragon Quest XI's Definitive Edition is coming to Switch 2 on September 24th. It has all new optimization modes, allowing you to prioritize graphics or performance, and there is no upgrade path or save transfer from the Switch 1 version. There is nothing else that's different about this aside from the graphics and the performance modes. That's it. The physical edition is cheaper than the original game was at launch. It's 55 Canadian dollars. However, it is a game key card. And again, there's no way to get your Switch 1 stuff to the Switch 2 version. Square is not offering that path. Did you play 11S?
I didn't play. I think my brother played it, and I watched some gameplay of it. But no, I haven't played any of the newer ones.
That's fair. Yeah, I haven't played it either. I might have considered this if the physical version was a proper release, but it is not.
Mm-hmm.
The big news that came out of Dragon Quest Day, the news that was very disappointing for most people, is that Dragon Quest 12, which was originally called The Flames of Fate, has completely restarted development. They scrapped the title, they scrapped the logo, they scrapped the darker story. They basically scrapped everything as far as I can tell, except maybe I have a theory that they did not scrap the character designs because of Akira Toriyama. But now this new game is a lighter story like previous entries. The game is called Beyond Dreams. It's about a hero tormented by visions in their sleep. And yes, in the captions for the Japanese text, the Japanese speech that Yuji Horii was saying, they use they, them pronouns for the main character. They did do that. It's the first non-binary. I don't know if it's a translation thing where they just weren't sure of pronouns, so they use they, them to be respectful, or if this character actually is non-binary. I don't know. The first time I saw the main hero, the very first shot, I was like, is that a lesbian? And then I was like, no, that's clearly a man. But then they said they, them, and I was like, who knows?
That's so cool.
Yeah. The hero may also be able to turn into a lizard. That sounds pretty non-binary to me because they have shown the shot where the same character is like a lizard in their dreams, apparently. Or that's the theory, is that when you go to the dream world in this game, that's how he appears. And what's more non-binary than being this androgynous lizard person? Like, I don't know I don't know.
I'm not non-binary, but that does sound pretty good.
Right? Yeah. Also, they did show off a lot of gameplay, at least. No battles, but they did show like the world, and it looks very pretty. It looks like Dragon Quest, but more detailed. Okay, so this is the thing I want to talk about, is that I think a lot of people don't like the way the main hero looks. Fine, cool. You're entitled to your opinion. I think he looks the way he does because he's left over. I think all the characters are left over from the previous iteration of the game, and they rebooted development after Akira Toriyama passed away, who did all the character designs. So I think they were like, okay, we have all these character designs. We have to find a way to still use them, as well as the music, because I'm going to get this person's name wrong. Koichi Sugiyama, who did the music for all the Dragon Quest games, has also passed away. So Yuji Horii is one of the only one of the three original people that were making these games that is still alive. Wow. And I think he wanted to not discard everything that his late friends created. So I have a feeling that he had to find a way to recycle assets from the original version and then still make something that's very typical of Dragon Quest that will keep people happy. So
interesting. What I've seen, the character design seemed to fit into what I would expect from Dragon Quest. I could see what you're talking about, being the situation. They had a more serious game plan, a more edgier game plan. But also, we've seen in the gaming cycle when something that has diversity comes up, they, them, the implied non-binariness, suddenly everyone has slightly unrelated criticisms about the game. So I'm not saying that's what's happening, but it sounds like it tastes like a familiar flavor we've had before.
In fans' defense, I don't see anyone actually talking about the they, them pronoun stuff, weirdly.
Well, yeah.
I mean, again, maybe I'm missing some conversation, but I feel like when most people are bringing it up, I don't see anything about, like, I see more people saying he looks like a Gen Z character, and most people are being ageist about it. Like, okay, this character's younger, meant to appeal to younger kids, Gen Z if you're Canadian. I am. I don't know why I'm saying Z. But anyway, the point here being that a lot of people are mad about his Gen Z haircut, his Gen Z design. Maybe I think I've seen people call him woke a little bit, but anyway, you could be right.
Sounds
could very well be right.
Yeah,
you could still be right, but who knows? I don't know. They also announced that because it restarted development, they don't know when it's coming out. I have a theory that I will very quickly elaborate on. Lloyd, I don't think we're going to have a lot of time for back and forth on this because we got to move on to the next segment, but they also announced a new Dragon Quest Monsters game called The Withered World. This game has two female protagonists who are characters from Dragon Quest V. They also said no release date, but they said that they hope it comes out before Dragon Quest XII, and I thought that was very strange.
Oh, okay.
But today, they announced the ESRB posted the ratings for these games on Switch 1 and 2. for this game. I forget what it is. It's like E10 plus or something. It doesn't matter. The point is the fact that it's rated tells me that it's probably coming out within the next 12 months at most.
Okay.
And I'm thinking this is one of those moments where they were being coy and saying something like, we hope this comes out soon. Because like last year at the Summer Game Fest, they literally had the Resident Evil person whose name escapes me come out and talk about like some Resident Evil sale, talking about Resident Evil in general, saying like, and we're gonna have a new game soon, but we need more time before we're ready. Just wait a little bit longer. And they're literally 10 minutes later at Summer Game Fest, they closed on Resident Evil Requiem with the announcement of that. So I have a feeling that they're like, oh, we're not showing this. I feel like Dragon Quest 12 is coming out next year, and they got Dragon Quest Monsters coming out this fall as a stopgap, and they didn't want to say anything because they're going to show off this in the Nintendo Direct where they're going to have more eyes on the presentation there. That's my theory.
Cool.
Because there's no way the only game coming out this year from Dragon Quest, after they literally released a remake they could have held off until later this year, is like a Switch 2 port of a game that has no upgrade path. That's mostly upset fans for the most part. And the only reason to buy the 11S version for Switch 2 is if you've never played the game before and never bought it. Anyway, that's all the news we have. We are going to take a very, very short break, and then when we get back, we are going to talk about our predictions for all the not E3 summer game announcement things that are coming up. Hi, Sure Avatars, and welcome back from the break. So, we're going to talk about not E3, Summer Game Fest, Summer Game Announcements, all the stuff that happens in June with game announcements, the absolute barrage of game announcements for stuff coming out in the next few years, and mostly this fall. So, we know there's going to be a State of Play, I think the day after this podcast comes out, which is Sony's PlayStation announcement thing. We know on Friday there is going to be Summer Game Fest, and then also I'm pretty sure they do like a Devolver Digital thing usually, I think right after. And then there's also like the Xbox Showcase on Sunday after that. And then I know there's a whole bunch of different like indie showcases around that time. I think there might be a Wholesome Direct, but I know there's a couple other ones I'm going to talk about briefly later. But I thought it might be fun to go back and forth and maybe say 2 or 3 games we're hoping to see and a little bit about why we hope to see them. Lloyd, these can be pie in the sky. These can be realistic. These can be whatever you want. Take it away.
Yeah, I will always root for a remake of Legend of Dragoon. There's no reason why I would expect that this year with any sort of facts. Just, I want it. I want it bad. Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's fair.
That's the pitch. Fair.
That's an RPG series, right?
Yeah, RPG, JRPG. I think it came out either in 2000 or in the late 90s. We could get maybe a real number, but it's very good. I played it a ton. It was probably one of my first JRPGs ever. It just means a lot to me. And technically that's where my name came from. So like I need this with more than 6 pixels on the screen. I would like to see this again.
I just think this would, if they remade it, I would play it too. This has sold me. I love JRPGs. I've only played a handful of them since Pokemon, but I know I will enjoy our JRPGs because they're kind of like books. Anyway,
it's got magic and sci-fi in a different way than Final Fantasy does it. A little bit more magical. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm rooting for you because that sounds amazing. I'm going to keep the JRPG train rolling. I hope we finally see the announcement and title reveal and release date for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3. We know that there's only one more third of the story left after Parts 1 and 2, Remake and Rebirth. So I'm very curious if they're going to call it something ridiculous like Reborn and make it very confusing for consumers. But mostly, I just want to know when the release date is because I need to start planning my life around the fact that I'm going to need about 30 days after that game comes out of not being available to the world because I need to play it.
Reasonable.
I've never played the original Final Fantasy VII, so I got into these games with this remake, and I know I could play the original. I know that this technically isn't a full-on remake, that there's a sequel element to it as well, and all this other stuff. I don't care. I just want to play Remake Part 3. That's what I want, all right? I really love the combat. I love the story. I love the characters. I love the way everything looks, the way it feels to play. Just everything about these remakes, they're wonderful. I get it. Like, I feel like Danny DeVito crying in the theater where he's like, I get it now. That's Final Fantasy VII for me. So, yeah, please, Square, I feel like Final Fantasy, they really rushed out 7 Remake and Rebirth on Switch 2 within less than 6 months of each other. And the day after Remake, I think it's the day after, it's a couple days after Rebirth comes out on Switch 2, is Summer Game Fest. So I think it's prime time for because it was only a couple weeks after they released Remake that they announced Rebirth. because coming to Switch 2. So I feel like that was because like, hey, we need to get these games out because part 3 is launching simultaneously on all platforms and it's coming soon within the next 6 months. So I think January for the anniversary of the original Final Fantasy VII. Lloyd, any quick thoughts on Final Fantasy VII?
No, that sounds good. Much more logical and thought out. But yeah.
Hey, they could do Legend of Dragoon. I think there's an equal, because usually when I want a reveal, it never happens. So I think Legend of Dragoon is much more realistic, to be honest. All right, do you have a second guess or hope for prediction?
I hope the Nemesis system comes back. That the Shadows of Mordor series.
I think Lloyd has frozen. Hi, Travatar. Sorry, had a bit of a technical issue with Lloyd, so we're going to end the episode a little bit early, but I'm going to wrap up with one more prediction and then a tiny bit of a note, and then we're going to call it. Actually, I'm gonna bring up 2-3 predictions that I hope to see, or things. So first off, the Ocarina of Time remake. If that's real, I would really like to see it this month at the Nintendo Direct, ideally, or wherever they feel like announcing it. I hope it's real. Would really like to play a game that is a little bit more modernized, because I tried the 3DS version and it did not jive with me because of the camera controls. They're still pretty wooden and boxy, and I did not really enjoy them. I'd like something a little bit more modern and updated. But otherwise, I did find the game fun. Just the controls kind of put me off, even though they were still more modernized than the N64 version. Then also, I would like to see more information on Intergalactic. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a Summer Game Fest. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a big component, because I feel like Naughty Dog is always at Jeff Keighley's showcases, and I think this game is coming out in about a year. I think it's going to be a late PS5 game, but early next year. Like, I think usually they release Naughty Dog games like in the spring, right before the launch of a new console. So I think it's coming out next year. Could be wrong, but I think it's coming out next year. And they're going to go balls to the wall, so to speak, this Summer Game Fest, showing it off. Because I don't think they're going to do it at the State of Play, because they're going to go balls to the wall with Wolverine, which is going to be there. Finally, I hope to see more information on Pokemon Winds and Pokemon Waves. I doubt we're going to see anything. I think this game is a November 2027 release, and I think the Pokemon Company is going to be mostly silent about it, barring a few little updates here and there. But if this game is coming out next spring, I do think we could see pre-orders within the next couple of weeks if it's coming out between March and June next year. I think the Pokemon Company may want to get out in front of it and get some pre-orders up, and at that point we might also see a trailer. Hi, Travatars. Future Zoe popping in here because I realized as I was editing the podcast at the end, I said I had 2 notes and I never actually brought those up in the recording. So I actually want to talk about that right now. So there are actually 2 showcases happening this coming weekend. If you're listening to this episode the week before, like the week it comes out, but before the following weekend. So like the Monday to Friday, it comes out the Monday. If you're watching up until the Thursday, or listening on up until the Thursday, there's 2 showcases. The first one is on Friday, June 5th. It's the Accessibility Summer Showcase. And there is a link in the show notes for anyone who wants to get the information on time and time zones and stuff like that. Since time zones are a thing, I'm not even going to bother, but it's on Friday, June 5th. I think in Eastern time, it's during the day, actually. I don't know if I'll be able to tune in live, but let me see here. Oh, I'm not actually seeing information on times. Oh no, I am. Sorry. I'm just not good at reading. So yeah, 4 p.m. UK time, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. So yeah, 11 a.m. Eastern is where I am, and I don't know if I'll be able to tune in. But there were lots of accessibility-focused games and a lot of queer games last year when I talked about this. So feel free to tune in. I'm going to do my best to cover some of the games from it, but I won't be able to get to all of them. And then on Saturday, June 6th, so that's Friday, June 5th, the Accessibility Summer Showcase 2026, and then the Story Rich Showcase will be on June 6th. Let me just double check. Let's see about times. I said I wasn't going to talk about times. Well, I'll at least read the ones from the actual thing here. So this is at 10 a.m. Pacific, so that's 1 p.m. Eastern, and I think that's 6 p.m. UK time, I think. Yeah, that sounds about right. I think it's about 6 p.m. UK time. Anyway, that's on Saturday, June 6th. This is the Story Rich Showcase. Brand new game reveals, release date announcements, gameplay updates, very talented and cool developers showing off what they've been working on. All story rich games. And the reason you should check that one out is because there are going to be some queer games, namely Truth Scrapper from Insert Disc 5. That game dev, Adrienne, worked on In Stars and Time, if I could get my tired Sunday night brain as I'm editing this to actually function. Anyway, so if you're a fan of In Stars and Time and you're looking forward to Insert Disc 5's new game, Truth Scrapper, it's going to be shown off here. on Saturday, June 6th at the Story Rich Showcase. So anyway, check out both of those, please, because those are two showcases for sure that are going to have a lot of queer games and could use your support more so than the Summer Game Fests and the Nintendo Directs and the State of Plays. You can also check those out too, but these ones definitely, could definitely benefit from viewership for sure, especially in these times. So anyway, that's all from me, from Future Zoe, and I bring you back to the end of the actual podcast Lloyd and I recorded yesterday. That, I think, is all the time I have tonight. I do have to go. I'm recording on a Saturday night, so I'm just going to call it a night for now. But thank you to Lloyd. If you want to follow Lloyd, he is double, I don't know why I'm saying that. Lloyd_Lloydster on certain platforms, Lloyd.Lloydster on other platforms. I believe you can find him. I think you can find all those links, actually. I should know this by now, but you can find all those links in the show notes, or at least all those links through his, I'm blanking on the word. Twitch. You can find the link to his Twitch channel in the show notes, and I think from there you can find the links to all his other socials. You can also find him, I retweet him constantly, or reskeet him constantly on Blue Sky. You can also find him there. Lloyd, I know you're not here, but thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully we can check in on Celeste again. And True Avatars, thank you all for listening. And that's about all the time we have. So take care and enjoy this week of the barrage of news, and we'll check in next week, hopefully. And that just about wraps up this week's show. Thanks, True Avatars, for joining me for another episode of your Queer Video Game Podcast. By listening to the show, you are supporting queer-made content, which is more important than ever. If you want to support True Avatars, it would be really great if you could leave a comment, rating, or review on your preferred podcast platform. You can follow the show on Blue Sky, Twitter, Threads, TikTok, and YouTube under the handle @TrueAvatars, all one word, and on Facebook and Instagram under True Avatars. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe, as well as hit the notification bell so you can be the first to know when new content drops. I welcome you to check out the official website, trueavatarspodcast.com. That's all one word, trueavatarspodcast.com. On the website, you can sign up for the newsletter, where you can get exclusive news and updates on the show. Bye, True Avatars. Thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to speaking with you all again next week. Take care and stay safe.